All right, let's dive right into this explainer on the incredible story of our solar system. We're going to take a massive cosmic journey today, starting right from the gravitational center of our planetary neighborhood, zooming all the way out to the icy edges of space, and then coming right back down to Earth to explore the rich history of human discovery.
You know, it's a question that just naturally sparks wonder every time we look up at the night sky. What exactly makes up our solar system, and how in the world did humanity figure it all out? For thousands of years, we've been staring up, trying to make sense of those wandering lights above us. Well, today we're going to break down exactly what those lights are and the incredible story behind finding them.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, our star and its gravity, then we'll meet the 8 planets, check out some moons and celestial rings, learn about ancient human sky watchers, see how we actually discovered the solar system, and finally, zoom out for a cosmic perspective.
All right, part 1, our star and its gravity.
Picture this, long before Earth even existed. I mean before oceans, before dinosaurs, before any of it. There was just this giant, quiet cloud of gas and dust floating out there in the dark. Then, gravity stepped in, the absolute hero of our story. It slowly started pulling all that scattered matter together. As it condensed, it got hotter, it got denser, until finally, boom, our sun was born. It became this giant star providing the heat and light we need for life and acting as the massive gravitational anchor that dictates the movement of literally everything else nearby.
Now, unlike our star, which burns super bright, planets don't actually make their own light. They're simply these dark, round objects caught in the sun's massive gravitational pull, locked firmly into these predictable paths that we call orbits.
Moving on to part 2, meet the 8 planets.
So our local neighborhood is basically split into 2 distinct areas. First up, you've got the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. These guys are small, solid, rock-based. But then you cross this truly vast divide and you hit the outer planets. We're talking massive gas and ice giants here. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, just sitting way out there in the freezing, distant reaches of space.
Now hold on, I know exactly what some of you are thinking. What about Pluto? You probably remember Pluto from when you were younger, right? Well, today in modern astronomy, we kind of look at the system as 8 plus 1. Pluto is our famous plus 1. It's a tiny, icy world way past Neptune. Sure, it got reclassified from a 9th planet down to a dwarf planet, but it's absolutely still a crucial, fascinating part of our solar system's story. And the contrasts out there are just wild. Take Earth, for example. It's what the Montessori educational approach beautifully calls a prepared environment for life. It has liquid water, 1 moon, and it sits at the absolute perfect distance from the sun. But then, look right next door at Venus. It's often called our sister planet because it's about the same size. But wow, it is a scorching, poisonous world with the hottest temperatures in the entire solar system. Just a slight tweak in distance and makeup creates wildly different realities.
Okay, part 3, moons and celestial rings.
Because, planets aren't the only exciting things out there. We have our one single moon, which is great. It beautifully reflects sunlight, goes through its phases, and steadily controls our ocean tides. But those giant outer planets, they have dozens of bizarre, incredible moons. I mean, Jupiter's moon Europa might literally have a hidden ocean right under its icy crust. Saturn's moon Titan actually has lakes of liquid methane on its surface. And Io, another one of Jupiter's moons, it's completely covered in erupting volcanoes. The sheer diversity is just staggering. And while we're talking about mind-blowing sights, we got to talk about Saturn. When you look at Saturn's beautiful rings, they look solid, don't they? Almost like a painted track around the planet. But actually, scratch that. They aren't solid at all. Imagine billions of tiny ice and rock pieces, some as small as a grain of sand, others as big as a mountain, all just orbiting together in this majestic cosmic dance. That is the beautiful, fragmented reality of Saturn's rings.
Let's zoom back down to Earth for part 4, ancient human sky watchers.
See, long before anyone ever peered through a telescope, the sky was humanity's calendar, our map, and our storybook. The Assyro-Babylonians created early sky maps to track seasons. The ancient Egyptians literally used the position of the stars to predict exactly when the Nile River would flood so they could grow crops. Ancient astronomers over in China meticulously recorded comets and eclipses. Polynesian sailors achieved these incredible feats of navigation, using just the stars to travel perfectly across the massive, empty Pacific Ocean. And the Navajo Nation beautifully connected constellations to their seasonal cycles and cultural teachings. Astronomy really is one of our absolute oldest survival tools.
Which brings us to part 5, discovering the solar system.
This maps out a monumental shift in human thinking. For the longest time, we thought, hey, Earth is the center of everything. But then in the 16th century, Copernicus comes along and says, actually, the planets orbit the sun. In 1610, Galileo points a telescope up, finds moons orbiting Jupiter, and proves that not everything revolves around us. Later, Kepler maps out exactly how planets move, and Newton explains the gravity pulling them. And once our telescopes got better, entirely new worlds hidden in the dark were found. William Herschel spotted the blue-green ice giant Uranus in 1781, and Clyde Tombaugh found Pluto in 1930.
But the story of Neptune, it is absolutely wild. Imagine discovering a whole planet without even looking through a telescope. Because astronomers understood the laws of gravity so well by then, they noticed Uranus was being pulled slightly off its predicted path. So they used pure math to calculate exactly where another massive object had to be to cause that wobble. They pointed their telescopes to that exact mathematical spot in the sky, and boom, no way, there was Neptune. Pure mathematical prediction at its absolute finest.
Finally, Part 6, a cosmic perspective.
To bring this all full circle, exploring space shouldn't just be about memorizing facts, right? Taking in the sheer scale of the inner and outer planets, the complexity of the rings, the long history of our ancestors staring up at the night sky, it should inspire absolute awe. It really teaches us profound humility about Earth's tiny place in space, and more than that, realizing how incredibly rare and perfectly situated our little prepared environment is, it encourages a deep stewardship to fiercely protect this life-sustaining planet of ours. We aren't just isolated here. We are a vibrant, living part of a much larger cosmic story. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this really profound thought from Montessori teachings. From stardust came the sun. From the sun came Earth. From Earth came life. And now the universe has become conscious of itself through us. Just think about that. We are the part of the universe that gets to look back at the stars and actually understand them. So, the question I leave you with today is this. How are you going to use your consciousness to further explore, understand, and fiercely protect our tiny, beautiful place in the cosmos?